species on the seafloor are all very different. They have certain traits, and these traits are linked to ecosystem functions. Those are the functions that the ecosystem performs for us. Human disturbances to ecosystems, such as fishing, can cause species to go extinct from an area. For example, huge oyster reefs that used to be a dominant feature in the North Sea have mostly disappeared. With those species, we also lose their ecosystem function. Fishing with trawls disturbs the sediment and removes the organisms living there. Organisms can recover from a disturbance by trawling, but this takes time. So, the negative impact of trawling can be lessened by decreasing the frequency of trawling. Shallower trawling, for example in sandy areas, also disturbs the sediment less than deeper trawling in, for example, muddy areas. So, species traits determine the ecosystem functions they provide, but also how resilient they are to disturbances. In some regions in the North Sea, the frequency of natural disturbances is quite high. The organisms that live there are adapted to these natural disturbances. They might live deep in the sediment where they are not removed by a disturbance, such as a storm or trawling, or they can swim or crawl away and then return when the coast is clear. There are also traits that can make organisms more vulnerable for trawling. For example, long-living, structure-building species that grow slowly need a long time to recover after disturbance by trawling, if they can recover at all. So, we can also decrease the negative impact from trawling by trawling in areas where species are actually adapted to natural disturbances. To investigate the impact that different types of fishing gear and different types of trawling have on different communities in different parts of the North Sea, researchers from the Royal Dutch Institute for Sea Research developed an online tool. Let's have a look. On the right here, you can choose the area in the North Sea. Each area has a different community of species. Which species are living here, you can see here at the main species column, and here's a graphical representation of what the seafloor might look like. At the top you can choose different graphs. You can look at the bioturbation, the bioirrigation, the feeding types, the depth zone, the density of all the species, the biomass of the species, and you can have a look at all the different groups. Here on the right you can specify your choice. You could choose a group or a depth zone or feeding type. The graph is based on model simulations that are performed as you specify your choice. The graph shows you the individuals per square meter and how they change over time. You can choose even more specifications. If you look all the way on the right, we can change the number of perturbations per year, which is the frequency of trawling. We can also change the duration of the trawling perturbation, and we can choose the duration of relaxation. So this is the number of years after the perturbation. We can even specify the type of gear. We can look at otter trawls, pulse trawls, beam trawls and dredges. And we can change the gear penetration depth. As you can see, deeper gear penetration disturbs the species more. Below you can find some information on bioturbation, bioirrigation, the station and about the tool. You can choose to show all the species in the graph and you can choose a log scale. So now you can play around with the tool. Have fun!